kind of turn his cheek and say, yeah, man, you can have it. It's cool. See, I know the dude who drives that car, and I can tell you, that ain't happening. He's the kind of dude that doesn't call the police, but some of them boys work for him from time to time. Much more likely to hunt you down and got you in the street. I've seen it. Seen it.
So we all know by now, every time Tom Bukovac picks up the guitar, it's very musical. Oftentimes sounds like a great song. He posted a video, it's probably a week or so ago, called Room Service. Basically him on tour, West Coast, in his hotel room, playing a Stratocaster, unplugged. He's jamming along to like a E minor pentatonic thing, I guess, and then he busts this out. I'm paraphrasing. I added that last little bit, but listening to that, I thought it was somewhat unexpected. Certainly not something I expected. But he's using, it was very Bukovacian in that there were two half-step rubs, I guess like parallel half-step rubs. So I guess this would kind of correspond with a minor pentatonic, but you're using the C note and you're on the 12th fret on the B string, so that's a B, so that's a half-step rub right there. And then, but he does this. And I'm slaughtering this, but so you got the half-step rub there. Then you got a half-step rub here because you got a C again on the high E string. And then he moves to the G string and has a half-step rub there between the G string and the B string. What would that be? B, A, G. A G and a G flat. And then that's like a, C major right there. Anyhow, cool stuff. So I started messing around with that. And then I was like, oh, you could do that on F too. And all of a sudden, I kind of had something that sounded like a song, or so I thought, and just started messing around with that. But yeah, the other thing that I picked up from that, he's playing this, and I play it very sloppily, but he's, starting at like a E power chord and doing a chromatic down to C. So it's, but to coordinate that, initially I was doing all downstrokes, and I would get kind of hung up on the C sharp. Still, again, I'm sloppy at it, but what I noticed what he does, there's two things. So he does alternate picking going down. So it helps you keep the rhythm a little tighter, just alternate picking. And then the other thing, like I would typically, left to my own devices without watching how he did it, I would play that power chord with my index finger and my pinky. His way, ergonomically, I figured out by just copying him, is much better as far as it takes a lot less effort to mute the strings. Like when you're just holding your pinky and your index finger, you really have to work to make sure your index finger is muting the strings. When you're using your ring finger, it just kind of naturally falls that way. So that was one thing I picked up on. And then as far as the half step rub lick, he uses his fingers, so you don't have to use your pick, but it sounds better, I think, to use your pick for that chromatic thing. And then for the half step rub part, because you're hitting these two strings at the same time, the E string and the B string, if you're still using your pick, at least what I found, and again, Tom plays it with his fingers, there's probably a good reason for that. And I found that it worked better for me as far as making the riff sound, or the lick or riff or whatever you want to call this, sound better, is using your fingers as opposed to the pick. Because what it does with the pick, if you hybrid pick that way, to me it was making the E string too loud. So I found using my fingers, everything was much more balanced. So there was a lot of good stuff in that video. This is just one thing that I kind of keyed in on and messed around with. That's it.